Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks. Welcome to another fun-filled, action-packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist, DT, from weatherist.com here in Central Virginia, talking about This Week in Weather. I'm your captain of chaos, your commander of confusion, and your commodore of catastrophe. Let's talk about This Week in Weather. And we'll start out here by taking a look at my wonderful smiling face from Richmond, Virginia. There's my two emails, my Verizon, my Gmail. You want to reach me. There's the Twitter page, and there's the Facebook page. There you go. So we'll start out here taking a look at topics here. Are we going to We're going to look at all of December 2020, and then hints at the possible pattern change in late December, January. So let's go right to it. First, we're going to start out a little bit taking a look at the ENSO conditions here, the La Nina, and just to give you an idea of the different regions here. There are several regions we look at. Obviously, the most important one is region 3.4, but there is 1.2 off the coast of Peru, and then region 4 out there by the Solomon Islands near New Guinea. So there's a whole bunch of different aspects of the ENSO we have to look at. So here's one of them. Now this here we're going to take a look. This is region 1.2. This is the one that's just off the coast of Peru. So you can see over what's going on here over the past few days, a few weeks. Actually, go back to October. We were generally the anomalies here were dropping here in November into December, and now they've risen significantly. And there's a lot of reasons for that. This is not necessarily a permanent rise, but it is showing some weakening here in region 1-2. So that's interesting to see if that actually happens. As you can see, for most of the last few weeks, it's been around 1 degrees, 1.2 degrees centigrade below normal, but now it is warm somewhat there. If we look at region 3.4, again, there was a clear peak right here, as you can see, at the beginning of November, around minus 1.8, which is close to strong El Nino. But then look what's happened. It has risen, now it's leveled off here. And that's important because that may mean that we're not going to be seeing a moderate La Nina right through the entire winter. So that's something to talk about here in just a second. And then region 4, this is, as you can see right here. We've been going down on a steady drop here through October. Then we leveled off here now, a little bit of a dip and bounce back up. But generally, it's been around 1 degree centigrade below normal there for the past few weeks. If we look at the map to see what's going on here, we can see that we have generally a below. There's the La Nina. You can clearly see it. I mean, right here, it's obvious. That's the holy region right here. We also have this pool of really warm water right here in the northeastern Pacific Ocean. And it's obviously significant here. Now earlier this was a huge, very warm blob. I talked about this in my winter preview, and what's happened is the water here has begun to weaken a little bit, and because it's weakened, it's actually the water temperatures have warmed, actually expanded back east a little bit. So this really cold, warm pool was here. Now it's centered more like this, and that's getting really close to having a positive PDO if in fact if that actually holds. So we'll see if this movement of the warm water towards the west coast continues over the next few weeks. You can see it here. This is another version. This is from weather models, and you can see they've got highlighted the anomalies a little stronger here, a little better with a different color graph here. The scale here is a little more clear. So there's the La Nina very clearly. You can see it like here, and then you can see the really warm water is lining up against the west coast of North America again. So we'll see if that actually holds as we go into the heart of the winter here. If you look at the anomalies over the last 7 days, you can see that the really warm water, which was in the central Pacific here, has cooled significantly. And the La Nina is also showing some weakening as well. In fact, if we look at it in more detail, let me clear this out. There we go. Then we look at it in more detail. This image from, there we go, from the of the northeastern Pacific. This is from Alex Borman over at Cyclonic Weather. You can see that the huge drop of really warm water, which was located here earlier. Look at the massive drop. This purple stuff is like 5-6 degrees centigrade drop in the past week or so. Temperatures really cooled off here. Now, not so much here. It's cooled off a little bit, about half a degree, but really big drop here with that pool that was referred to as the blob of warm water. If we look at the another way of looking at it, now this is just a change over the past 15 days. Now this one shows the actual anomalies as of right now. So again, the water has cooled off here, and the really warm water is located here, and it appears to be pushing back to the west coast, which would be, like I said, that could be a significant development as we go into the heart of the winter. Now this map here is the current upper air map here. Now this is actually valid for tomorrow, but or I guess you would say on a Thursday, but we can clearly see what's going on here in some important features. First, notice you have the Scandinavian block here pushing towards Greenland. That's a little nice. The Arctic Oscillation is close to neutral, but it's going negative. You can see we don't have any deep vortexes here. We have a bit of a ridge here on the west coast in the eastern Pacific, and a trough here in the southwestern states, and a ridge developing over the eastern United States because of this trough. So it's a very mixed pattern. We have a big trough here, another one here, another one here, another. So it's a four-wave pattern when you look at it, really. But it does showing signs of changing. Now, this is the latest European projections that came out last week, back last Friday or Saturday. And the reason why this is really important is because this was the line here for November, as you can see right here, November. And a lot of the forecast models for the winter were based upon this. Okay, getting down from minus 1.5, as you can see in December and January, 1.5, and then slowly rising through the second half of the winter. But the new red line, as you can see, is vastly different. The red line shows a dramatically weaker La Nina. Notice that it already has it warming by the time we get to the end of December. There's December. And it has it coming up. You see that? That's big. That's a huge change from this. And by the time we get to February and March, we are in definitely weak La Nina. So this is a big change here, and this has potential to be significant for the second half of the winter in particular. Now that matches my winter forecast very nicely, so I'm encouraged to see that. But just because it matches your winter forecast doesn't mean it's going to happen. There's this, and there's also some other data here. The CFS climate models are also significantly weaker with the La Nina over the past 7 to 10 days. I was going to include them in this presentation, but this thing gets long enough as it is. So maybe I'll include them for next time. But the CFS is definitely getting not as cold as it was before. On second thought, I decided to insert the latest CFS from last week, and you can see the difference here. Now, this is obviously adjusted a little bit, but if you only go back 7 to 10 days ago, you could see that this dashed line was down here at minus 2.5. So this is a huge change. Look at the difference in January. It was going way down like this and then coming up. So now you have a very different scenario here. So again, that's another sign that the La Nina is reached its peak and it's going to start weakening in January, about 30 days earlier than forecasted. At least that's what I'm concerned about. And I might be wrong, but at least the model data is going my way. All right, now this is the upper air map from December 7th on Monday. We had a little snow event here in Virginia, and you can see there's our trough right nicely here, and then we have this big enormous ridge which extends all the way up to Greenland. So this is partly a ridge here in the Rockies. It's also partly a negative NAO because you have blocking going into Greenland. If we look at our teleconnections of the different features here, we have the four big ones here which affect North America. So this is the NAO, which is the Greenland block. Let me change marker here so you can see it a little better. This is the NAO right here. That's the Greenland block, which helps keep low pressure systems staying to the south when it's negative. This is the PNA, which provides a ridge on the west coast, which brings the cold air in, which is nice. This is the EPO. When it's negative, the ridge gets really big and actually comes across from Siberia. So you want this to be negative. And there's the Arctic Oscillation. And when it's negative, the cold air can come south, and you can have more storms forming. So that's what you want to see. Ideally, you want to see the negative Arctic Oscillation, a negative EPO, a positive PNA, and a negative NAO. That's what you want to see ideally for a good East Coast winter storm. All right, let's take a look at our data here. Now this is again from Weather Models Arctic Oscillation. You can see that the system is quite strongly negative. Change my markers here again. And you can see that the AO, you notice it's been going negative, and now here, right through until Christmas, it stays strongly negative, very strongly negative, the AO. So that's a good sign. And now here's the NAO. This is your Greenland block right there. And you can see, again, generally negative, and then it generally continues to go negative all the way through to Christmas, almost to the end of the year. So that's a significant sign. All of the models are showing this, not just the European, the European mean, the GFS, the Canadian, the Korean, they all show this. Now, if we look at the Pacific side of things, it's not quite as favorable. So this is the EPO. Now the EPO is positive. It drops down negative a little bit here, and then it goes generally positive and may level off a little bit towards Christmas. And then the and then the other one. Oops, let me change this. On the bottom on here, you can see that the PNA is positive right now, which is providing some of the cold air, and then it goes to neutral, and then it stays essentially neutral all the way through to Christmas. So not great on the Pacific side, not completely horrible, but not bad. All right, now if you look at this, this is from WSI and Dr. Ventris, Mike there, and he posted this the other day on his Twitter page, and you can see that the GFS is showing a warming here, stratospheric warming at the end of December going into January. Potentially this would force the polar vortex to split or to go into a pronounced negative phase, which would help set up the winter in a significant way. In fact, if you look at the data here, this is the European for the next 10 days. You could, at the top of the atmosphere, this is at 50 millibars, right up at the very, very top of the atmosphere. You can see 50 millibars here, and you can see at the very outer top of the atmosphere, there's your polar vortex, and you can see it's pretty tight centered over the North Pole. What happens is by day 5, you can see it splits. One piece goes in this direction here, elongates, and this one goes here. And this in turn allows ridging to form between them. So the ridge, the North Pacific ridge, builds into the Bering Sea, and then the Scandinavian block builds towards Greenland. And you could get linkage here, and which would be a very significant development for the winter. And if we look at day 10, you can see it's the vortex is almost splitting, and not completely split, but close. And of course, we don't know that yet. This is day 10 out, very far out there. But there's one center here, there's another center here, and this is building from the North Pacific into the Bering Sea and the Arctic region, and so is the one from Scandinavia building towards Greenland. So if those features were to link, it would be a push the polar vortex very far to the south, and we'd be off to the races in terms of storms and ice and cold if that were to happen. So we don't know it's going to happen yet. This takes us to December 19th, so we'll see. So that's something to keep an eye on. All right, this is the upper air map here for December 12, and you can see what's going to happen with our next system. We have the Bitter Ridge on the west coast. We have this nice trough here, one piece in the Rockies, another one here in Arkansas, Missouri, and a little bit of a ridge on the west coast. So this next system, the vortex is up here. Because there's nothing here over the southeastern Canada, this next low is going to track up through the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley, and that's exactly what it does. There it is on a Saturday. The lows in central Illinois. It's raining in Chicago, so it's not a cold pattern at all. And this pulls up some warm air up and down the East Coast here on Friday and Saturday, December 11 and 12. Okay. Now that low moves off the coast. Now there are indications, and there has been for some time, on the models of something forming at the end of the front. So there's the low, and there's come down this way, trying to form low pressure here. Now the GFS takes this system right off the coast, but the other models have been hinting at something forming at the base of the cold front quite some time. This is the European version, and the European from 12Z, this is the Wednesday afternoon run. You can see it just has a little bit of a weak low pressure here, and all the precipitation stays to the south. And so even though there's cold air in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, West Virginia, southern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, it's not, precipitation simply not far enough. But if you look at the data, you'll see some differences here. Now this is, and clear this out, this is the GFS model, and it's showing again 12Z. You can see the bagginess at the end of the cold front, the trough. So this is this piece of energy right here. Now really what this is actually is it's actually connected to this. That second piece of energy is actually this feature here. So This one drives the low to there up to the Great Lakes. Then this one comes in behind it, and it tries to develop something on the cold front on like I said on December 14. So that's what the GFS is showing here with the upper level energy. But of course, this is positively tilted, so the low is going to form much further to the east, which is what the GFS does and goes out to sea. The European is a little closer to the coast. This is the operational European. Notice that it has a little bit of a little dink there in the height line, so it's almost closed off here. See this little dink right there? So that's a little stronger on the European than it is on the GFS. And if you look at the ensemble, it's even more pronounced. There's the ensemble. You can see it's got a strong negative anomaly, which is further north, right here, and this would imply low pressure closer to the coast. The question is there any cold air in place? That's the question. There may not be. But in any event, the European model, this is the ensemble, and this is again valid for Saturday. You can see that December, actually, excuse me, Monday, not Saturday, Monday, December 14. Now, this here is your rain snow line right here. And you can see all the precipitation, essentially rain in the Carolinas. Maybe a little bit of snow in eastern Kentucky or southwest Virginia, maybe. Okay, but by the time we get to Monday afternoon on the European ensemble, the rain snow line is here down by south of Richmond, close to Norfolk and just north of Raleigh. And there is to be some precipitation that might be cold enough or frozen here. Maybe. So we'll see if that happens. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's just a possibility, something to watch out for. All right, the next event is what happens on December, the middle of the month, December 16, 17, or 18. This is the European model for December 16. First, notice the huge positive anomalies up here in Greenland and the Arctic. So that's why those things are going negative. That's insignificant. Okay, but now there's your polar vortex right here, and we have a trough running like this, positively tilted trough. Now, you have a little bit of a 50-50 low here, but not enough. We saw some ridging on the East Coast. So the question is there cold air in place, and how does the system develop? Now, the European model does this. It just has essentially a cold front with a little bit of a low pressure area here. The big lows in Quebec, the front goes down like this. There's a second front here. There's warm air coming ahead of it, so it's rain on the East Coast, and that's about it. Snow for the Great Lakes and eastern Canada, not a big deal. But the European ensemble has a little different. The European ensemble shows a Miller B, that is to say, one primary low in the Ohio Valley, the other low on the East Coast, and they coalesce into a decent sized low off of Cape Cod, which would bring snow to New England, and possibly New York City. That's what it's showing on December 16th, so that's a possibility. Now, the European model does not, the GFS model does not show that at all. As you can see, this is the European for December 16th, and this is the GFS. European GFS. As you can see, the GFS is totally different, completely different. It's got one piece of energy here, another piece of energy back here. All right, very, very different setup. And as a result, what happens is the upper air map, you've got this big piece of energy on December 18th hanging back over Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma, and you get low pressure that forms here. But the problem is the flow is completely zonal with Pacific air. There's no cold air here in this kind of pattern. So the low pressure develops and it comes up the coast and it bombs out, but it's all rain or mostly raining. Maybe the mountains might be rain. And you can see it here. This is the GFS. Look what it's doing on December 18. Again, this is totally different from what the European is showing on December 16. Totally different scenario. Has a big coastal storm on a big low pressure area, Louisiana. The highs over Virginia and Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Then on the evening of the 18th into the 19th, there's the low. Oops, right here, you can see it. The highs off the coast. You have south winds bringing up the rain. It's all raining for everybody from Georgia to Boston, if this is right. And then, I mean, even here, look at this. High driving rain, New York, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, everybody. Rain, rain, rain. It's a terrible looking pattern. Now, the thing is that the GFS Ensemble, this is the GFS Ensemble for December 19th. The operational is showing this, and the GFS Ensemble has no low pressure there at all. Nothing. Zero. So this is telling me, okay, that these solutions here you're seeing on the GFS here, let me close this out. Okay, this is essentially bullshit. And this here, again, essentially bullshit. Bullshit. No, no. Okay. The ensembles do not support that at all. So just, okay, I like the European scenario here for December 16th much better. All right. Then what happens after that? Now, as we go towards Christmas, this is the GFS. This is the extended GFS from early Wednesday morning. Now, we don't have any ridge on the west coast. Kind of a little bit of a ridge here, a little bit. All right. There's a disturbance here. So there's a negative anomaly here, some sort of low pressure in the southern jet stream. We have a negative NAO here, very nicely. Still a bit of a ridge. So if any low forms, this looks like it's going to be mostly rain from the Mid-Atlantic. It might be snow for New England, the northern Mid-Atlantic, maybe Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, the Ohio Valley. That's possible, in that sort of pattern. But the other model is even more bullish. This is the 18Z GFS Ensemble, and look at this monster negative NAO Greenland block here, classic. In addition, we have much more ridging here on the west coast, so more cold air coming in. And look at the negative anomaly. The low is right here in the southeastern states. So this is screaming snowstorm on Christmas Day, or winter storm for somebody on the East Coast. Now this is a long way out. I don't want to get people excited about it too much, but this is a very interesting looking map here on December 25. And interestingly enough, there is some support from the European is showing the same sort of thing. The European kind of looks like the extended GFS here a little bit. So we'll see what tonight's European is doing, if it's any different. Again, bit of a negative anomaly here. Clearly something in the southern jet stream there, some sort of low here. Bit of a ridge on the west coast, not great, but some flow of cold air, and a little bit of a ridge in the southeastern states. This looks mixed precipitation for the Mid-Atlantic Christmas. It might be snow, it might be ice, it might be rain. Hard to say. Better New England and the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes than the Mid-Atlantic, but it's something anyway. And it does show a slow change in the pattern here, and that's really what we're driving at. All right, and then finally, this is the extended European. Let me go here. Here we go. And this is the CFS daily, just to show you what it was showing also from this is the 18Z run. No, the 12Z run on midday here, Wednesday. Again, negative anomaly, much stronger ridge here. Look at that ridge, pulling on the cold air. Some big negative anomaly here on the East Coast. This is after Christmas to the first week of January. This is the last week of December. That's a much colder looking map. That's got all sorts of possibilities into it. And if that's the case, if you're a winter weather lover, you would be in business here. Now, this is a long way off. There's a lot of speculation, but the trends are going that way, and we'll see if that actually happens. This is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I will see you over on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page. Thanks for following, and thanks for listening.